right. Welcome back to the Biking Till I Die podcast. And I'm joined by my forever friend, Jackie Norris. I know that's not your name, Jackie, but that's what I'm going to call you for the rest of this call.
I like that. It works. Let's go back in time, shall we?
How
Cheers.
you doing, Jackie? Great to see you.
Nice to see you too, Andy. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Can't complain.
So what you don't know is that the way that I see the lead up to this particular moment is I'm gonna preview all this by sharing a few of those videos that you sent to me earlier today. And I
Okay.
think that will come as a surprise to a lot of people. Hell, I've known that you were in this world, and I was even kind of blown away. I guess the question that is burning in my mind is, do you think you could kick my ass?
I do. I think now more than ever. Can we make a podcast date for that?
Did
Is
you
it
answer
on
that too
film?
quickly?
I'm ready. Well,
I
it's like people say to me, um, like especially I like they see my arms and they're like, "Wow, you worked out," and I'm like, "Yeah," but they're like, "You look good," and I'm like, "Well, thanks. I really just want to look like I could kick your ass."
I
I don't know the way to.
you answered that question way too quickly, I gotta tell you. I didn't like how that felt. Okay, let me come at it a different I tell you what,
Yes.
how do you feel I'm just asking you for a friend, not a fist fight, but mud wrestling. You up for that?
Oh, I may have that in my history as well. I think I remember doing that
Snap.
once.
Did you
I
mud
wasn't
wrestle
very good
somebody?
at it. I did sometime in college. It wasn't during the Northwest Golden Age, but yes, one time. I wasn't good at it.
I don't think anybody cares about the talent level.
I don't know, Andy. I'm an overachiever.
I under what circumstances were you mud wrestling somebody? You can't just put that out there and then back off it.
It was potentially 2 streets over from Franklin Street at the lovely University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I don't know if Adam Hodinger and some of the others that went to Chapel Hill were around, but it was a dark night. It was the moon was out, and I might have had a few drinks, and somebody
Uh-huh.
said, "Why don't we mud wrestle?" And I said, "Okay, lead the way." And I just jumped in and didn't do well, but made it out. So I might be better at that if asked.
You know that your mom's gonna hear this. I'm gonna make sure that she gets a link to this. You okay with that?
I suppose. I suppose. You might you might have to do like a part two and have her here too, like you did
Okay.
with Evie Ham. That would
All
be
right.
interesting.
Well, that'd be lovely. Your mom was the substitute teacher our entire lives, and a lot of fond memories of Mrs. Norris there. Don't mean to make such a harsh segue, but I did want to take a moment and just give a call out to Amanda Shoemate. As some of you might know, Amanda lost her mom a few days ago, and as you might imagine, she's going through it. And Amanda, on behalf of all the Vikings here, hearts go out to you. For those of you who pray, I'm sure she would welcome and appreciate your prayers. But just wanted to pause and acknowledge Amanda, and hope you are finding some comfort at this point. So anyway, thank you for that. Thanks, Amanda. Hope you're okay. All right, so Jackie. Let me ask. I prepared a couple questions. I'm not big on preparing questions because I just like to kind of see where it goes. But I want to hit you with a cold one. You ready? Okay. All right. Tell everybody who Jackie Norris was in high school. Who were you?
I was a athlete, loved to play soccer. Didn't quite know who I was yet. Kind of could chameleon like with different groups. Took me some time to find like my place, if you will. But I love to have a good time. Had a very diverse palette for activities outside of athletics. I mean, loved playing the flute in middle school and the pep band. Um, Won several Halloween costume contests in middle school, I might add. So that was kind of fun. I was creative, so that would probably be the link to that. And I loved music. We've been to several. Didn't you go to the Metallica concert with us?
No.
No, you didn't? Okay, well, Adam and Darren and Ryan and Mark, I think we all went to the Metallica concert together. That was fun. And Nine Inch Nails. You didn't go to that one either.
No, it did
No.
not.
I remember the look on
Why are
your
you guys
face.
having all this fun without me? What the hell?
I don't know. I don't know what you were doing, but loved music and loved hanging out with friends. I remember you at Brassfield, hanging out Pizza Hut, going to CD per store. Um, that's who I was in high school, middle
Well,
school.
okay. Look, my mom taught me from a young age that you never comment on a woman's age or her appearance. It's just that I kind of already messed that up. If it's okay for me to ask, usually
Uh-huh.
when somebody gets in the kind of shape that you're in now, it is not accidental. And it's not that you were ever not in shape, but there's obviously quite the difference between kind of the lifestyle you have now, which is I think it's fair to call it uncommon in the best of ways, right? But it's a different kind of the lifestyle is the only word to describe it.
Mhm.
How can you talk about I hate to ask what happened, but something happened. Can you talk about what that moment was like and how you got to be somebody who's threatening to kick my ass?
Sure. Um, I actually, like we talked about a moment ago, I always was an athlete, but I just never gave it 100%. And about a year and a half ago, I had a pretty significant injury to my knee and had 2 major surgeries, was non-weight bearing for about 3 months, and that scared me to the point I thought, I'm never gonna get to run again. I've been a CrossFitter for a long time. That's where I saw Burt Ray and at
Mm.
Prolific Park. He was doing his thing. And I had Burt. But anyway, I thought of not being able to do the things that I had always enjoyed, and probably the past 5 to 6 years was kind of a wake-up call for me. I ran a lot, and I probably ran way too much. So when I made it through that surgery, I started lifting weights. I went into the gym in my non-weight bearing self and lifted weights and kept lifting weights and kept lifting weights, and I realized that the more weight I lifted, the more I found myself and the less fear I had around not being able to do the things I had done before. And so ironically, here I sit before you, um, doing things that I never did before in the best shape of my life. And yes, it is, a very disciplined lifestyle, but it's something that I really do enjoy. And it's fun. I've met a lot of really great people and we, um, enjoy encouraging each other to to get better at not only how we are athletically, but like our mindset and our discipline. And I love it. But it was that moment that kind of changed everything for me.
When you say the more you lift, the more you find yourself, what
Mhm.
exactly do you mean by that?
Ooh, for me, I can't speak for all. There's a point where there's a little bit of fear and intimidation, especially when you're first starting and you see a lot of people who are really, really strong and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to pick that up, and if I do, I'm gonna, like, completely flounder." And to overcome that in your mind and then actually, like, see yourself incrementally getting better, it is the, like, most exhilarating feeling and the confidence that it gives you. I've never felt more confident in my life now from this experience than I had in
Mm.
the past, and it's really helped me embrace having more candid conversations with people, being more transparent, and living life to the fullest.
The one thing that I've always appreciated about a gym environment, and so for those of you who are regular gym goers, you'll understand this is it is one of the unique places, unlike an office or a neighborhood or your social life, where nobody is jockeying for any status or position over anybody else. There's no politics. there is nothing other than pure and sincere support and desire for everyone in that gym to be a little better. So
Mhm.
no one is trying to display that they're better than you. In fact, that some of the strongest people are going out of their way to see what they can
Mhm.
do to help you. It's a very level playing field, and the camaraderie that you find there is surprising. And you're right, especially when you're inexperienced and you're young. I remember myself, I didn't know, like, do I deserve to be at the same bench as some of these muscleheads? But over time, you realize that those people want the same thing for you that they want for themselves, and it becomes a very
Mhm.
disarming place to be. Do you find
Mhm.
that as you become more confident, you've actually gone out of your way to identify people who themselves may be struggling with a similar apprehension and perhaps insecurity? And when you recognize that, you'll create space to go over and make sure they're seen and supported. Can you talk about maybe
Absolutely.
how you know make contact with that?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting. The other day, I was in the gym, and this woman who I've seen many, many times, and when you're in the gym, if you're a very focused person, you can miss some of the things that you're talking about. But if you lift your head up and you actually see, beyond, being focused on the exercise that you're working on, um, I saw this woman, and you could tell she was a novice and she didn't exactly know what to do. And I just went over and I said, it's really nice to see you here this morning. Good morning. I've seen you a few times, but if you need anything, I'm right here. And she said, it's really, I wanted to say hi to you. I've seen you a few times, and you look like you really enjoy working out. And I said, I do. It looks like you do too. And she said, yeah, I really do. And that one thing led to another. And then, she's like, well, anytime I'm in the morning, I would love to like work out and do what you're doing. And I'm like, feel free. I'd love to have you. And so she'll join. And then ultimately, she became part of a broader group of ladies that come together each morning and do this workout. It's like a group training.
Wow, that's awesome. I want to talk about Julie Gaines a little bit. I was talking to Julie Gaines the other day, and one of the things we talked about, it was kind of in this neighborhood of discussion, but we talked about how you might remember different things about high school or that childhood, but you never forget how people made you feel. And as a high schooler, you don't really get that. But if anytime you think about somebody from high school and your memory of them, all you can think about is how that person made you feel. I think about that kind of stuff a lot. Does that do you ever go back and allow yourself time to think about your relationships and maybe how they've grown or lost or morphed and maybe just how that evolution has been in that vein?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, I to answer your question earlier, like who was I in high school and middle school? I became I feel like a little bit of a loner, and I didn't feel like I really kind of fit in anywhere. And I
Mm,
say that to you to answer your question to say that when I think back on it now, having a better appreciation for people going out of their way to include me in things. So, like Julie, as an example, she had some things over at her house where we were like planning for homecoming and stuff like that. And she invited me, and I was like super excited. Casey Christian had like a Halloween thing in the Cardinal, and she invited me to be able to go and do that. And those kind of things, to your point, like, they meant so much at such a pivotal time in your life, right? That someone would include you and think about you and want to have you as part of whatever event it was that was going on. Just speaks volumes to me now as an adult when I look back and I think about the, like, maturity level that they had at that point in their lives to be able to be resilient enough to see that and include
mm.
people. It's just, like, profoundly impactful to me. So when I sit here and I think about people who were kind to me, or I saw them that they were kind to other people, like when you were talking on one of your very first podcasts with, Darren and Ryan, coming from another state and, being welcome. That's such a huge thing. Again, at such a pivotal point in your life. And I think now as an adult, I realize how much I wish, one, I had done that more when I was younger, but two, recognizing it now. So, I think that's part of why I love your podcast so much. It just helps it's reminiscent of some of those things. And to your point, with the reunion coming up, I believe it's next year, you said, being able to kind of rekindle some of those relationships or seize the moment when you see them because where I do still live very close to Northwest, it's nice to, like Julie as an example, her daughter and my daughter played soccer on the same soccer team. Like I pass people that I went to high school with on a more regular basis. And it's fun to be able to like kind of like I said, remember those things in the good ways and have that feeling be something that, is still felt and seen even today from
Okay,
that moment.
wow. That's really profound. I didn't know you had all that in you, Jackie. Wow. So your kids are a bit older than mine and some of our peer group. So you have a perspective that some of us have not yet reached. Here's a question I think only you and maybe a few others could answer. If you think about things we did in 1997 through your kids' eyes, what things were what we had done which would have seemed ridiculous by today's comparisons? I'll give you a head start. I don't know if this is a quite a perfect match. Julie Gaines told me that her kids would think that going to party in a field out in the country was not something that would be happening, that maybe that would just seem like a silly notion. I don't know what's a better way to spend time than drinking beer next to a fire in a field, but what do I know? So
What do you know?
what would your kids find ridiculous that we enjoyed doing in the late 90s?
They are so technologically focused, even when you try to pull them away. And I sit here and I think about, sitting out like to your point, being outside by like a bonfire or something, like just, having a good time, talking, shooting the breeze, whatever the case may be. They don't do that at all.
What
And
the hell are they
it
doing?
they're on, they're on their phones. Like they are, well, see, part of my kid, so the oldest one, she's starting her second year of law school. So she was finishing up high school during COVID. So like, that was just interesting. Then the other one, she just graduated. She's getting ready to go play soccer at Catawba. She is like hell on wheels. she's like she's like all over the place. So they're all so different, Andy. It's kind of hard to answer this question because the other two are in eighth grade and sixth grade. And so that they're more of the ones that I see where like they're playing games on their phone or their PS whatever. And I'm like, are you really doing that all day? Like go outside
Yeah, get
and
out
make
there.
some sports. Yeah. And there's just okay. Like even something is kind of like go for a walk, go ride a bike. Um, like I have to push them to do that. So sometimes though it seems like it would be something they would love, it's very different. Does that resonate
Well,
with you or mom?
I
It's
feel
tough.
you know how, you have those commercials, the progressive commercials where you becoming your
Uh-huh.
parents, and, those are all funny until you find yourself doing something that your parents are doing, you're like, "Oh, shit." Well, my dad in high school shaking his fist at the sky with, how the world's going to hell because these kids, this and that and the other, and I'm listening to you talking, and I just, finding myself, like, "Oh, this is bullshit." God, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just we just don't like change, right? We just don't like whatever's happening. Like I
Oh
don't want to
yeah.
know the new slang words. Every time I hear the new slang words, I'm like, this is I don't want it. I want my slang words, and I'm going to keep those, and that's all I ever want to learn. I don't want your new slang words.
So I have to tell you something funny on that. So my kids, I wish I had the video right now. They actually like made a list of those slang terms that are now like in the urban dictionary or whatever. And
Mm.
they had my mom read them.
Had your mom read
And
them? How do you have a video of that?
I'm like,
Oh, we
I
gotta
don't
get
have
that.
it here, but when they're actually at basketball, they're probably going to come in like towards the tail end of this. But I will send it to you. But Andy, it's like you can't breathe. You laugh so hard because she's trying to pronounce them. Like I'm trying to think one of the words. Kiat. You gotta see it. It's funny. But
All
like
right.
I don't know those words. I'm like, what did you just say? Can you please like decipher that? 'Cause I don't know
Well,
what
let's
you
let's
just
get
said.
that we gotta get that video worked in here, so I can't wait
Yes,
to get that to see that
I will
here.
get
Okay,
that.
fantastic. Alright. Well, just moving on, but let's just kinda stay in the same neighborhood for just a second.
Yes.
What so, okay, school lunches. Listen, I remember in ninth grade thinking it was the coolest thing. We were so lucky they had pizza for lunch every single day, and I'm pretty sure I ate that crappy pizza almost every day for the entire 4 years. Looking back on it, it never occurred to me to even consider the fact that food was just so it was like the pizza, corn dog, and
The chicken
nachos, and
sandwiches.
the chicken sandwiches, those rubbery chicken sandwiches, and
Yep.
then, cookies and so on, but, like, I assume the lunches are still just as bad, but is that true? Do you know?
I will say that no, they elevated themselves quite a bit, and there's an a la carte menu, so you can kind of pick and choose what you like. Um, I that being said, my kids don't go to Northwest, but they have a menu of options. They have like the standard kind of stuff, but you get like the menu. Like there's not pizza every day. Like, every week there's a new menu, and then there's also a salad bar and a sandwich
Mm,
bar. So it is
okay.
many, many, uh, from what
Alright.
we experience.
Well, that's I suppose that's progress. We'll take it where we can get it. Now,
Yes.
I'm gonna take a sharp left turn here,
Mhm,
and I feel very fortunate when I was thinking about, doing this podcast of mine initially, a lot of it came down to just really appreciating just that safe and such a warm, kind of, part of the county we lived in.
mhm,
My core group of friends, and we all had overlapping cliques, and I get that. But, when I talk about my core people, Jackie, that is
mhm,
always, and it doesn't take me long to spit it out. It's Courtney Clayton, Adam Hodian, it's Adam Brackett,
mhm.
Mark Mangiardo, Brooks Barlow, Jackie Norris, Jennifer Mars, and the Workman twins. And to me, you guys are forever my core people. I'm so grateful for those memories because they're just so fundamental to everything else that kind of followed in terms of what those healthy friend groups look like. I sometimes wonder if I'm the only one who thinks or that much about these things. I can't tell. Where's your mind go?
Well, it's funny, I will be honest to say when I left high school and went to college, though many of us still were at the same college or kind of made our way there, by virtue of like Adam was at Carolina too. I was ready to leave high school, so I kind of shut that door and I was ready to move on to my detriment, I believe, because I think I shut a lot of memories down that now they like I see people, hear your podcast and just kind of brings all of those memories back, and they're so, like, heartwarming. So, no, I don't think you're the only one who feels that way. I think I have a renewed sense and a greater appreciation for those friendships now, which, seize the moment. For most of us, half of our life is gone, which I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but it's like having these outlets, like the reunion. I probably wouldn't have gone next year, but seeing all of our, you know, fellow classmates, share their stories and looking at old pictures, like you can't help but have it be nostalgic and, want to kind of relive and see those people who were so instrumental to like shaping who you were and who you became. Do you know what I mean? So like
100%.
I'm so with you. The bar or something, with all of you. It would be so much fun.
Yeah, well, it's reassuring to hear you tell me that. But if I gave you the 1997 yearbook right now, where would you flip to right away?
Mm, and I think I would go to look at like the superlative pages. Like who was the most athletic and, this, that, and the other, and kinda think about where they are now if I knew that I had seen them because, like, Facebook is one of those things that, you get to stay connected with people in a different way that you see them. But
Yeah.
that's probably where I go first. Where would you go?
I go to the teachers. Because when I was talking
Okay.
to, Matt Price, it wasn't obvious to me then until after we hung up just how many of our teachers have passed. If you think about it, 30 years ago, those teachers were in their, mid to late 40s.
Yes.
30 years on. I mean, and so I guess I knew, but I didn't quite connect with Coach Yao, Coach Eggleston, Mrs. Walker,
Yeah.
Mrs. Henley, Mrs. Shepherd, and probably Jackie, for all I know, lots of other teachers that I'm just not in touch with. So, boy, that's tough. That's just all part of it. But yeah, man, we don't talk about our teachers enough. They're not getting paid $1 million to do that. And so it takes a kind of special person, not only to do it, but to do it with staying power. Teachers that are in the game for 30 years, you really have to wonder what's in it for them. And all I can come up with is because they really love the kids enough to want to do it. And I've never been so selfless, but I have a lot of reference for a lot of those teachers. So yeah, I'd like to just revisit some of those teachers who did have impacts. And I don't think we tell them enough. I certainly didn't. I don't think it
No.
occurred to me then the impact that they're having on your life. It's not until you get older, like, man, that was really something. And at that time, you're so busy with your own stuff. You're not going to pick up the phone and go, hey.
No.
And I try to do that with Mr. Parrish, and I'll keep trying
Yeah.
to. But
Well,
yeah, that's what I'd say.
what's interesting about that is so the gym that I go to, Coach Bear,
Yeah.
he works out there.
All right.
Miss Sykes, I don't know if you remember her. She was like one of the
Mhm.
basketball coaches, and she's also a teacher. She works out there. So I've seen the two of them. So, and then do you remember Miss Register who is married to Coach Bear? So I've
Yeah,
seen,
vaguely.
okay, because she was middle school, like she was seventh grade. But there are still teachers that again, being here, you'll pass by them and it's cool to see.
What are some fond memories that you kinda clutch to that you like carrying around in your back pocket?
I remember watching you play tennis and Adam play tennis. I remember Adam was driving. I was going to a soccer game in Concord and he was driving that yellow bug and he got in an accident. And I don't know if I think maybe Mark was with him. And
Right.
the accident's not the fond memory, but it was driving the car. I remember, hanging out in like Adam's basement. I have a really good one.
Alright.
I remember, this is really good. I almost forgot. I remember we were juniors and we skipped school. Do you remember skipping school? Do you remember where
No,
we went?
I didn't skip school, I was a rule follower, Jackie.
No, I'm pretty sure you didn't go play pool. You didn't skip
Keep
school. I know
keep
Adam
going.
did. Mark did. Ryan and Darren did. I was the only girl. Jennifer didn't go. Um, yeah, we skipped school and we were juniors. It was senior skip day and we went and we played pool. My mom figured out that I had skipped school. So I had to go in and see Mr. Bailey the next day because, oh, by the way, he was my great uncle by marriage. And so my parents made me walk into the front office and go in and tell him that I had skipped school. And like we started the day, like the first 3 periods we were there, and then we missed the rest of the day. And so I had to go to in school suspension for the time that I had missed, which I did. And then Mr. Bailey passed away, by the way. But on my graduation day, in my graduation card, he had taken out my in-school suspension paper, so it wasn't in my file, and he put it in the card that he gave me. But that was a really good memory, skipping school. Um, I lost at pool. I was not good at that, but I love playing pool with all of you guys. And I talked a little bit about the concerts we went to.
I told myself if I don't bring it up, I'm gonna regret it. Can we talk about the time when you got in my car and drove over Brooks Barlow?
I don't remember that, Andy. Did I really drive over him?
He's gonna be so upset to hear you say that. Wow.
Oh,
Okay, of all
please
of
refresh my
one's life.
memory.
Woo. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Of all of one's life decisions, this is the one you forget. This is the one you forget where you almost killed a man in my car. Okay, I don't know why we're laughing, but
No, no, we shouldn't be laughing, but Can you, help that nostalgic memory come back
Yes, I
to
can. And
my
first of all, I'm talking about my very good friend, lifelong buddy, Brooks Barlow. And if you don't know Brooks Barlow, then you missed out on one of
mind?
the best people you could have possibly known from high school and now. You know how when you're like a kid and you're riding the bus and you laugh so hard your stomach hurts and you can't breathe? Brooks Barlow can still make you do that. So
I believe it.
I am. I just want to say, if I haven't said it, that my friendship with Brooks is one of the most treasured. He's just a wonderful guy. I'm very, very grateful to have Brooks in my life. Brooks, love you. So Brooks was hanging out with on your street in Summerfield. I was 16, and I was in your house for some reason, and you had the keys to my car. And again, short on the particulars, I come out of your house and I see Brooks sprawled across the hood of my car, and he's holding on with his face up against the windshield where you're now driving the car. Now, this car was a stick shift, and I don't think you had a lot of experience at that time. So, Brooks was stupid enough to get on the car for some reason. I think he thought it was funny. You thought it was funny to drive around with him on the hood of it, but you struggled with the stick. And next thing you know, you lost control of the clutch, and he went under the car, and you drove over him and dragged him for a bit on the asphalt. And he somehow emerged, and all I saw was him walking down toward your house like a zombie with a ripped up shirt covered in blood. We're still laughing. It was so funny. Brooks almost died. And he yeah, this is not the reaction I thought you were gonna have, to be honest, but I'm glad we're having a good time. We're having a big time. But,
It's coming
yeah,
back
he's
to me,
fine.
though, thank you.
He's fine. He's a tough guy. So, anyway,
That
wow.
that was a good memory, but that one, I thank you for bringing that back to my I remember it now.
Yeah, clearly it made quite the impact. Yeah,
Well, now that I think about it, it did, and I was
yeah.
better at driving a stick shift than I let on because my
Well,
car
I
was
don't know about that. Not that particular day.
wasn't I saying?
Man. All right. Okay.
What's another memory you have? What's on your list?
Again, this is a time before cell phones. You forget that we were also lucky not to have to. You could just be bored. You could just sit there with your thoughts with your friends, right? So I do it too. You're sitting with people you enjoy. I'm sitting with Adam Hodiern. We're having a good
Mhm,
time, and then there's a
mhm,
lull, and we're both looking at our phones like a couple jerks. Why are we doing that? Well, we didn't have that was not an option back in
yeah,
1995. So when we went to Mark Mangiardo's pool, and it was at night and we would just sit around it, there was room to just let the conversation relax and
it's
just sit there. And I didn't know that was something we were supposed to appreciate. But
right,
that wouldn't happen now. I mean, right? Your kids or hell, even us, we would sit there and be like,
right,
and that's not the memory that I would have chosen for us. And I'm glad we didn't
mm,
have that. Mark Majordo's pool in the day, at night, just talking. I mean, that was beautiful, you know?
yeah, no, it was. Well, it's interesting that you say that too because, even even now, it's like, you can capture memories, it's been fun. So for those of you who don't know, I've been, like, looking through pictures and, like, sending Andy pictures from the past, and, I can pull them up on my phone, but you're right, like, we couldn't do that back then, and I remember, like, I had a curfew at a specific time, and this was before 220 was 4 lanes, and it was only 2, and, like, we had it down to, like, the second, like, when I had to leave either Adam's house, Mark's house, or your house to be able to get home in time so I was not late. And, there wasn't a 360 app where my mom knew I was speeding, you know, like those kinds of
Yeah.
things, like were so, like I didn't realize how much of a treasured experience that was until here I am now. And, to your point, our kids or even ourselves when we see things. But you know what else is really funny? When I say things to my kids like, well, the camera doesn't have film in it. And they're like, what's film?
No. What's
I'm
film?
like, what's film? I'm like, well, you don't know what film is? And they're like, no. Like, okay. And then, if you
Listen.
go into an old house and they have
Yeah.
like the phone jack, they're like, what is
Yeah.
that?
The hell's that? It's from a Stephen King movie or something. Yeah, it had film, and you had to take that crap down to Walmart, and
Exactly.
if you were lucky, you got to wait an hour, maybe, and then, even then, of the 30 photos you took, maybe you got 6 that you wanna use.
Mhm. Yep.
That was when we knew that things were really heating up. 1 hour photo, because before that, you had to just send it off in the mail, I guess, and just sit around. I don't know
Yes.
what
Yeah.
happened. I don't even know
Yeah.
how that worked. Yeah.
Yes. Well, or,
Mm.
you would wait for, like, the top 10 at night, and you'd record, like, your favorite song so you could hear it, like, on the little cassette tape, and now you just stream, like, "Hey,
Hey,
they dropped it seconds ago."
did you ever do you remember, 98.7 KISS FM? Remember that radio station? And remember they had the
Yeah.
dedication hour? It was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and you could call up, and you would say something like, "Okay, this is Andy, and I wanna dedicate Bryan Adams. Everything I do it for
Yeah.
you, and this is dedicated to Celeste Bragalia." Meanwhile, I was I was too scared to talk to Celeste, and, like, I don't know what I was hoping was gonna happen. Like, maybe Celeste is gonna hear this, and she was gonna go, "Oh my god. Did you guys hear at 10:23 last night, Andy dedicated a song to me?" Isn't that, I mean, now that I think about it, it's really kinda creepy and weird, but in my ninth grade mind, I thought, "Maybe something good will come from this." And
Yes,
I would do
yes.
the thing, and I would sit there, and I would listen and hope they played it, like, I hope Celeste hears it.
Did you ever do it, though? Did you
Yeah.
ever do
Also,
it for
all the
anyone?
yeah, I did it for Celeste, like, 6 times over the course of a year. Spoiler alert, nothing became of that.
I remember that. That's another thing that we did too. Back in the day, right, we had, like, regular phones and, like, you would fall asleep. Like, I remember Adam, Cody, or Mark, like, we would be on the phone and we would talk and talk, and I remember my parents would be, "Get off the phone," and 'cause, you only had 1 phone for your whole house, so, like, if
Yeah.
anybody else needed it, like, you were gone. And so anyway, I remember, I mean, we would just, like, be on the phone, like, we would be listening to, the top 10 or the whatever you were just talking about, and, just, it was all about talking, it wasn't texting and, you know, stuff like that, and so it was memorable.
Do you remember your parents' landline phone number from when you were a kid?
Mhm.
What was it? Wow. Do they still have it?
No, they got divorced.
Well, good job, Andy.
It's
Way
okay,
to
it's
get that.
alright.
I'm just asking
Right.
about phone numbers. I didn't know that
I
was
know,
gonna
well,
happen.
they sold their house in Summerfield and went their separate ways, but they're much happier. It's all good. But I think I also remember that number because it was attached to all of the, like, CVS rewards or the Food Lion rewards that were out in Summerfield, so, like, that was part of why I remembered it. Yeah, that was the number. You don't
What
remember
was that?
yours?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But if I'm afraid if I tell you that my parents are gonna get divorced, so I'm not gonna tell you.
Keep it on their app. Keep it on the down low.
That was a really shitty thing to say. I'm sorry. Listen, Jackie, give you one more. I want you to think about
Okay.
this. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Now imagine you're talking to every member of the class of 1997 right now. Imagine they're all listening, which isn't true. You probably got 4 of them listening.
Hi, mom. Yes. Okay. I would say to the class of 1997, seize the moment, seize the day, stay connected. Life is short, memories are enduring. Create more of them, create more of them together. Appreciate the old and welcome the new and what it can be. And, as you look to the future, recognize the value of your past and make sure, I think this is the most important thing. Make sure that it has a legacy and it doesn't go away. And I think that's part of why I love what you're doing with this. It's cemented at a time when technology can remain, like we were talking about, like the things we did. I can't pull a video up and show you unless, we're talking about what you're doing with your dad. But this is something that it will, I truly believe, stand the test of time. And our ability to do that will help keep it alive and flourishing long after we're gone. And I think that that is so impactful and part of why we're here, why this matters. So make every moment matter.
Well, that's beautiful, Jackie. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Now let me see those guns. I'm gonna put mine down. I'm gonna embarrass me. Kick my ass.
Yeah, no,
Hey, it's been
I
fun.
it has been. We have to like catch up though in person. I do hope to see you and I really love what you're doing.
Well, thanks, Jackie. It's been
Mhm.
great.
It's
And
been
don't be a
awesome.
stranger. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Sandy,
Bye
bye.
now.